Okay, here we go. Let's get it. Let's talk about it, man. It's been a crazy day, man. It's been a crazy day. I'm gonna address a lot of this on the Patreon. It might be some on some Tupac hit 'em up type. That's how crazy it is. So, wow. These are grown people, y'all. Grown people are acting like this, and I don't think they even know what they doing is like not manly. I'm like, this isn't. Do you realize what you're doing right now? It's not manly. But all right, we'll get there. But that's not what this video is about. That's for the Patreon. That's later. Now, this is about Chris Webber. Now, Chris Webber will not be returning to TNT as they decided that they're going to part ways from each other. Yep, that's right. They decided this is it. They're parting ways. They not finna be cool with one another. Their ship has sailed. Yeah, I know. You're surprised. Don't be. Okay? Now, let's get to it. Holy shit! See, I told you I don't trust them niggas. Told you, this is why I don't trust this nigga. Told you I don't trust him. Look at this shit. This is the same damn thing before. Told you I don't trust these niggas. Told you. Man. Deal with them niggas later. Told them. Nobody listens to me though. Man. Anyway, where we were at. We're in a situation where Chris Webber and TNT, they go their separate ways. Now you might say, well, what separate ways? You know, a lot of you like, what the hell went on, Cino? We'll talk about it in the Patreon. But anyway, Chris Webber and TNT will not be doing business ever again. Now, there's a reason for all of this. Because when Chris Webber signed on, they were looking, he came in at the right time because they were looking to add some new people and they were auditioning who was going to be the new third on the show with Charles and Kenny and Ernie. They was going to add a new person to the show. And Chris Webber was basically auditioning for the part on the show with him and Shaq on the show. And Chris Webber definitely was better than Shaq when it came to the analysis and breaking down the game. And they realized that Shaq was just a little bit more silly. Well, Webber was more the reserved. Shaq is just goofy. And everybody loves some good old goofy Shaq. So at the end of the day, that's what they went with. Goofy man. Goofy worked. Goofy Shaq. So Chris Webber was signed under contract. So when they had Shaq there, they basically, Chris Webber was there. So they basically just moved him and just say, okay, well, you'll just cover the games and do some sideline inside stories or something whenever we're doing some things. So a lot of developments happened down the road where Chris Webber was being completely bashed for some of the things he was coming up with, and they were like, what game is Chris Webber watching? And even colleagues are like, Chris was like spaced out or something. Like, what was he even talking about in his post game, doing his covering of the games? So everybody was roasting Chris Webber. Like, man, Webber is like horrible. So, so when it came down to the NCAA, he was doing the most of the coverage and was going to do the coverage for the Final Four. And what happened was he had a situation where he wasn't going to be able to be there, and he was like, I don't know if I can be able to make that or cover that. And he didn't let them know in what they could consider to be enough time for them to find a replacement, because it was kind of last minute, so they basically penciling him in until he tells them, I can't be there and got to come out. And he wasn't doing this. So this created nothing but a bigger problem. So when that happened, it was like, okay, we're going to have to let Webb. When that was over, he was in negotiation for a new contract. And it's like, you pull that off in the negotiation for a new contract? What is wrong with you? Like, where do they do that at? Well, no. He thought and assumed this is the right way to do it. He was wrong. He was very wrong. And they wasted no time in letting him know that they were not interested in him covering any more games. After the last thing, it was like, it's done. So I think he already knew that renegotiation was out the window. They were done with bringing Chris back. And Chris Webber is just like, I thank God, so maybe he's got some type of new deal or something else on the horizon. Maybe he's just going to go in there with him and Paul Pierce going to go into the weed business together. Who knows? But this was an ugly thing from the start when they brought Shaq in and they moved Chris Webber out, and how easily they brought in Dwayne Wade. And when they brought in Candace Parker, they basically told Chris Webber, "Oh, we're gonna reduce this down to a 4-guy set, and you're the odd man out. So we're just gonna move you around, and we're gonna ride with Shaq." When he know he was better than Shaq. So naturally, that's not gonna sit well with him. You know that. So Kevin Harlan, nobody's replacing Kevin Harlan. Reggie Miller, Reggie's been doing it for years now. They love Reggie. He plays ball. They know Reggie's that guy. So now, where is Webber gonna go? What's he gonna cover? It's not like he can't work in the NBA anymore. He might could go to ESPN. He didn't burn any bridges with a lot of people, just TNT because this is NCAA. You know, they had to find somebody last minute to come in and do the coverage. So right away, you know, this was it. You know, they burnt their bridges with him on that, doing a contract and renegotiation. Because before that, they had every intentions of bringing him back until that incident happened and he was odd man out. So I'm not going to hold you all day. I'm going to gear this up. I'm glad you guys are liking the birth of Christianity. I see some of you already was enlightened. But that was part one. Part two is still coming up. We just had to wake people's brains up a little bit to let them know that we ain't just here to talk about hip hop and all this other stuff. We talk about real stuff too. So that's it. That's all. Oh yeah, you want to support the page? Cash App Carcino, KRCENO. In case you didn't know, and hit the like button. All those wonderful things you should already know by now. And that's it.